Welcome to Sunday School for our junior high students ages 12 to 14 for August 27th, 2023. I do not own the rights to this music. The title of today's story, Breaking All the Rules. 911, what's your emergency? Yes, ma'am. My name is John Doe, and I am calling to report a traffic accident. Yes, sir. Please proceed. A young driver ran a red light and hit a light pole. Are there any injuries? Yes. One of the young men is unconscious, and the other two seem to be moving around. Okay, I will send the paramedics. 16-year-old James was the driver in the accident and was accompanied by his two neighborhood friends, 16-year-old Joshua and 14-year-old Anthony. James ultimately recovered from the crash after spending a month in the hospital because of a concussion. He has had several speeding tickets, but this was his first traffic accident. Because of his many tickets, James's parents had personally revoked his driver's license a week before the crash, and Joshua and Anthony had been prohibited from riding with him. James had initially been upset at these restrictions. He ignored the rules and snuck out to pick up his friends. Then came the crash. It changed James's life dramatically, even though everyone recovered. I understand why you took my license away, he told his parents a few days later. And I understand now why there are laws like speed limits. He thanked God for parents who wanted to protect him from repeating mistakes and laws designed to protect him from harm. The memory verse for today's lesson. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. And that's Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 22. The lesson scripture is Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 15 through 22. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and ladding asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day, wherein they said, victuals. They sold victuals. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah, and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, What evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us, and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them, and said unto them, Why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates, to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. Sabbath reforms. Nehemiah's insistence that the restored community keep the Sabbath is one of several efforts to prevent the Jews from repeating mistakes. The Sabbath was to be kept as a sign of the Jews' covenant with God. Nehemiah expressed concern that the restored Jews not again profane the Sabbath and bring the wrath of God. The observance of the Sabbath distinguished the Jews from the non-Jews. Monetary gain proves a poor basis for moral values. This became very important after Jerusalem's collapse, which multiplied the dangers of assimilation into foreign cultures. In Jerusalem, the laws that helped the Jews obey God were instituted for everyone, including the non Jews. How to observe the Sabbath. Number 1, understand that the Sabbath is to be honored. Number 2, share with others the importance of honoring the Sabbath. And number 3, keep the Sabbath day holy. Getting it right. People sometimes take action to stop those who are breaking community rules. Keeping the Sabbath was so important to the welfare of God's community that Nehemiah ordered the gates shut to prevent the Israelites from breaking this law. In the story today, James's parents had personally revoked his driver's license, and Joshua and Anthony were prohibited from riding with him. Why do you think the above consequences were not effective? Like Nehemiah with the Israelites, James's parents wanted to prevent him from breaking laws and having to suffer the consequences. Joshua and Anthony's parents did not want either of their own children to get into crashes and forbid them from riding with James. Reflection. Reflect on a time, situation, or circumstance when you broke a rule or law. Did you get caught? If so, were you punished? In the future, plan to honor and obey rules and regulations so you can avoid the consequences. Most laws condemn the soul and pronounce sentence. The result of the law of my God is perfect. It condemns but forgives. It restores more than abundantly what it takes away. Jim Elliot. The Bible readings for the week. Monday, the topic is a Sabbath to the Lord. Read Exodus chapter 16, verses 13 through 26. Tuesday, the topic is Keep the Sabbath Holy. Read Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 through 18. Wednesday, the topic is Honoring the Sabbath. Read Isaiah chapter 58, verses 9 through 14. Thursday, the topic is The Lord of the Sabbath. Read Mark chapter 2, verses 23 through 27. Friday, the topic is Doing Good on the Sabbath. Read Mark chapter 3, verses 1 through 6. Saturday, the topic is Restoring the Sanctity of the Temple. Read Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 4 through 14. Saturday, the topic is Restoring the Sanctity of the Sabbath. Read Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 15 through 22. The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.